hurting right now. The reason we have no safety net in this country relative to those nations that we like to compare ourselves to is precisely because of the racial resentment that says we don't want those people getting over. There was actually a study done on healthcare internationally. They found the single biggest factor to explain why the United States does not have universal healthcare relative to Western industrialized nations. They figured out all these different elements. And they did what they call the regression analysis, big social science term, where they control for all these different factors. They found the single biggest correlated factor with the opposition to universal healthcare in this country was the belief that black folk would abuse the program. So now you got millions of white folk without health care, but by God, at least those black folks aren't getting over. This is what W.E.B. Du Bois called the psychological wage of whiteness. Right? It doesn't pay your bills, but psychologically it tells you, well, I might not have much, but at least I'm not black. At least I'm not brown. At least I'm not red. At least I'm not a person of color. But see, at the end of the day, that doesn't put your kid through college. It doesn't pay the emergency room bills, and it doesn't pay your house note. We've got to be willing to have this conversation. Sadly, as a country, we're running away from it. Trying to downplay the issue of race, trying to talk about class in a vacuum to try to bring everybody on board, afraid that if we talk about race, working class white folks will bolt from any progressive movement. But what working class white folks got to understand is the very reason that they're hurting. The very reason that they're so disempowered is because of racial inequity. In other words, they were not the targets of it. To be sure, people of color were, but those of us who are white become, over time, the collateral damage of a system of white supremacy and racial inequity. So we need to be clear on it.